Let me ask you a question that you're probably not used to hearing. What if today was your last day to live as you are, not your last day on earth, your last day asleep, your last day living small, your last day avoiding the truth? Because what's coming is not just a shift. It's a transformation. They call it the rapture. I call it the awakening, and no, it's not about fear. It's about clarity, power, purpose. You see, every generation faces a moment where it has to choose. Will you rise or will you run? Will you awaken or will you drift into the crowd, unnoticed, unchanged, unshaken? This moment right now is your alarm clock, and it doesn't ring politely, it roars, because life doesn't whisper when it's trying to wake you up. It slaps, it shakes, it burns everything fake to the ground so what's real can finally rise. You weren't born for ordinary. You were born for impact. You weren't built for comfort. You were wired for warfare, spiritual, emotional, mental. You weren't created to play life like a safety drill. You're here to train for a fire that purifies, not consumes. Now here's the hard truth, and I want you to feel this in your bones. Most people won't be ready. They'll be too distracted, too entertained, too numbed out by the noise, scrolling while their soul is starving, arguing while their purpose is dying, waiting for a sign while the signs are screaming all around them. But not you, not today, because something inside you has already been stirring. You've felt it in the quiet moments, that itch in your gut, that tension in your chest, that whisper in your heart that says, there's more, there's more, there's more. And you're right. There is more, but you've got to rise to meet it. You don't prepare for the rapture by waiting for it. You prepare by becoming the kind of soul that shakes the world before it leaves it. You prepare by becoming the kind of person that refuses to go to the grave with any music left inside. So let me ask you again. Are you ready? Ready to release what no longer serves you? Ready to forgive like your peace depends on it? Ready to stop blaming, start owning, and finally face that mirror and say, I'm done hiding. I'm done shrinking. I'm done delaying. Because here's the truth most people will never tell you. The rapture isn't an event. It's a choice to elevate, to expand, to break through the ceiling you didn't even know was over your head. It's not just about eternity. It's about urgency. The time is now to break patterns that have kept you in spiritual poverty. The time is now to disrupt addictions that have stolen your focus. The time is now to stop being lukewarm in a world that desperately needs people who are on fire with truth. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. But you do need to be available. Available to truth. Available to transformation. Available to the call that's been echoing inside you since before you ever learned to doubt yourself. Listen, your excuses won't go with you. Your pride won't follow you. Your mask won't survive the fire that's coming, but your soul, that's what it's always been about. Not your bank account, not your likes, not your ego, your soul, and what you chose to become with the breath you were given. So here's what I want you to do. Stand up inside yourself, take back the pen and start rewriting your story. Cut ties with the lies that have limited you. Be ruthless with what distracts you. Be relentless with what grows you. Because this world needs you at your highest level, not half alive, half committed, half human, but fully awakened, fully aligned, and fully lit up with the fire of truth and courage. The storm isn't coming, it's already here. The darkness isn't waiting, it's already pressing in. But so is the light, so is the power, so is the call to rise. And you, yes, you were born for this hour. You were born to stand when others fall. You were born to love when others fear. You were born to lead when others hide. You were born to answer the call when it comes. And the call is here, right now, louder than ever. This is your moment. This is your alarm clock. This is your rapture. Are you ready? The rapture isn't an event. It's a choice. It's not some far-off cosmic moment when everything changes without warning. It's a shift that begins within you. It's the decision to wake up, to step out of the fog, and to stop waiting for a sign that was already inside you all along. Too many people walk through life as if they're waiting for permission to rise, waiting for a perfect day, a perfect moment, a perfect calling. But the truth is, the rapture was never about a calendar date. It was about transformation. It's not about whether the skies part or the earth shakes. It's about whether you choose to respond to the inner shaking already happening inside your soul. You feel it in the moments when you're tired of being tired. When the job doesn't satisfy, when the relationship drains you, when the goals don't light you up anymore, that quiet dissatisfaction is the beginning of your personal rapture. It's your soul crying out for change, screaming that there's more, pleading with you to stop numbing, stop delaying, stop ignoring what you know is true. The real rapture happens when you say enough is enough. When you rip off the layers of your fake identity and meet your real self for the first time, it's brutal, it's raw, but it's real, and it's the most powerful thing you'll ever do. People wait their entire lives for miracles. But the greatest miracle is when a person decides to burn their excuses to the ground and take radical ownership of their existence. That's the rapture. When you stop blaming, stop running, stop pretending that your life is just a string of random moments. When you stop playing victim to circumstances and start becoming the architect of your character. That's the doorway, and the key is always in your hands. You don't need a preacher to tell you the world is changing. You can feel it. You don't need a prophet to warn you about what's coming. You already sense the urgency. It's in the air, in the energy, in the collective discomfort that so many are trying to escape. And yet, the ones who understand that discomfort is not a curse, but a calling, those are the ones who rise. They're not waiting for rescue. They are becoming the rescue, for their family, their community, and most importantly, for themselves. Choice is everything. You either choose to evolve or repeat. You either choose to rise or remain stuck. You either choose to be awake or continue sleepwalking through a life that doesn't reflect who you truly are. No one's coming to lift you out of mediocrity. No one's going to force your breakthrough. That's your job. That's your mission. That's your rapture. It happens the moment you get sick of settling. The moment you finally understand that peace doesn't come from avoiding pain, it comes from walking through it with purpose. The rapture is the fire you walk through, not the escape you run to. It's not about disappearing from this world. It's about showing up in it more powerfully than ever before. It's about making a choice to live like your soul matters, like your time is limited, like your destiny isn't something you can gamble with anymore. You're not too late. You're not too broken. You're not too far gone. But you are being called, not someday, not next year, not when things calm down. Now, the choice is here. The decision is now. The door is open, but only you can walk through it. Only you can say yes to the next level. Only you can become the person you were born to be. Most people won't be ready not because they can't, but because they won't. The truth is, readiness isn't about resources or timing or luck. It's about decision. It's about whether a person is willing to confront what's uncomfortable, to face what they've been avoiding, to break patterns they've clung to for years. People are always waiting for the perfect moment, the right sign, the final push. But what they're really doing is postponing their power. Readiness has nothing to do with external conditions and everything to do with internal permission. Most people have the ability, they have the strength, they even have the vision, but what they lack is the will to move through resistance. They won't be ready because comfort is familiar, and familiarity is seductive. It convinces people that what they've known is safer than what they could become. They hold on to pain like it's part of their identity, as if healing might strip them of who they think they are. But the truth is, being ready means being willing to shed who you were for who you were meant to be. It means letting go of narratives that have kept you stuck. It means refusing to let fear write the next chapter. And most people just won't do it, not because they don't care, but because they're afraid to let go of the version of life that feels predictable, even if it's unfulfilling. They'll tell themselves stories to justify the delay. They'll say, "I'm just not built like that," or "some people have something I don't," or "it's too late for me." But those are lies dressed up as reasons. The truth is, Readiness is a decision that lives in every single moment. It's not a one-time event. It's the daily choice to show up even when it's messy, even when it's scary, even when nothing guarantees that it'll work. The people who will never be ready are the ones who believe that clarity comes before courage. But it's the other way around. You move forward not because everything is clear, but because something inside you refuses to stay the same. Most people won't be ready because being ready means accountability. It means you can't hide behind excuses. It means you have to admit that you've settled, that you've tolerated less, that you've betrayed your own potential, and that kind of honesty takes guts. It takes a level of self-confrontation that the average person avoids at all costs. But the ones who are ready, they're not more talented, they're not more blessed, they're just more honest, more willing, more desperate for truth than for comfort. They've decided that growth is worth the disruption. Readiness also means isolation. It means stepping away from the crowd, from the voices that tell you to stay small, from the energy that keeps you boxed in. Most people won't be ready because they want approval more than they want transformation. They want belonging more than they want breakthrough, and belonging to a life that keeps you numb is a high price to pay for not rocking the boat. But transformation doesn't happen in the crowd. It happens in the wilderness, in the silence, in the moments when you have to decide if you'd rather be free or familiar. The saddest part is that many will never know what they were capable of because they never chose to find out. They'll live lives full of almosts, maybes, and could-haves, not because they lacked power, but because they lacked permission from themselves. They won't be ready because they thought readiness was a feeling, not a commitment. They thought it would come with a sign, not a decision. They thought someone else would do it for them, not realizing that no one is coming, not realizing that readiness is the most personal, powerful decision a human being can make. And it has nothing to do with circumstance, everything to do with choice. You weren't born to play safe, you were built for fire. There's something deep inside you that was designed not just to survive challenge, but to transform through it. Playing it safe may feel comfortable, but it slowly kills the part of you that knows you were made for more. Every time you silence your voice to fit in, every time you lower your standards to be accepted, every time you hide your light so others won't feel uncomfortable, you betray the fire within. That fire is not chaos. It's your calling. That burn you feel in your chest when you see something unjust, when you hear truth, when you dream about the life you wish you had. That's the flame trying to break through your fear. You weren't made to stay small, to tiptoe around your potential, or to bury your dreams under layers of doubt. Playing safe was never the goal. You were designed to confront, to create, to awaken others by the way you walk through storms without losing your spark. The fire inside you isn't weakness, it's proof you're still alive. You've been taught to avoid discomfort, to choose stability over growth, to stay in the lines. But greatness doesn't exist in the lines. It exists in the moments you're willing to be seen, to be judged, to be stretched beyond what's easy. There is nothing noble about hiding your gifts. There's nothing brave about waiting for the world to give you permission. Playing safe might win you temporary approval, but it costs you the one thing you cannot replace: the life you were actually meant to live. The fire inside of you was meant to lead, to build, to shift atmospheres. It was meant to burn away all that is false and reveal who you really are beneath the expectations and limitations others tried to place on you. Fire is dangerous, yes, but so is regret. And every time you dim yourself to blend in, regret quietly grows in the background. You weren't built for easy, you were built for purpose. You were built to withstand pressure and turn it into power. Playing it safe avoids failure, but it also avoids growth. It avoids risk, but it also avoids reward. The fire within you doesn't just push you, it purifies you. It challenges your excuses, your patterns, your distractions. It forces you to face the uncomfortable questions. Who are you when no one is watching? What would you do if you weren't afraid of failing? What would you create if you weren't trying to impress anyone? That fire demands action. It won't let you settle. It won't let you fake it. It won't let you sit quietly when your voice was made to speak. People will tell you to be realistic, to calm down, to wait your turn. But people who are built for fire don't wait. They move, they build, they break through. They don't just dream, they do. They don't just hope, they act. That's what separates the ones who live a story worth telling from the ones who die with their potential still locked inside them. Playing safe may protect your ego, but it starves your evolution. It keeps you in a version of life that's comfortable, but not meaningful. And you weren't born for that. You were born to set something ablaze with your courage, with your truth, with your relentless refusal to settle for less than what's burning in your soul. The world doesn't need more comfort, it needs more courage. Comfort zones are crowded, but the arenas where transformation happens are nearly empty. Most people spend their lives chasing safety, numbing discomfort, and building routines around fear disguised as logic. But real change, real leadership, real power never comes from the comfortable. It comes from the courageous, from those willing to feel uncertain, to be stretched, to face resistance and still show up. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the refusal to let fear dictate the terms of your life. The world is starving for people who aren't afraid to stand up, speak truth, and walk paths others avoid. It's easy to repeat what's popular. It takes courage to say what's necessary. Comfort is the slow death of potential. It lulls people into routines that feel safe but steal passion. It creates lives that look fine on the outside but feel hollow on the inside. Courage disrupts that. Courage wakes you up at 2 a.m. and reminds you that your life wasn't meant to be a checklist. It whispers that you've been called to more than managing your schedule and paying your bills. It tells you that the dream you keep pushing down is still alive, and it will keep haunting you until you have the guts to chase it. Comfort wants you to blend in. Courage dares you to stand out. Comfort wants you to settle. Courage challenges you to grow. Comfort tells you to stay in the boat. Courage steps out and walks on the waves. We live in a world that rewards image but ignores integrity, that chases likes but avoids truth, that glorifies hustle but forgets purpose. And that's why courage is needed now more than ever. Courage to slow down and listen. Courage to speak when your voice shakes. Courage to walk away from what drains your soul, even if it's all you've ever known. Courage to rebuild when everything falls apart. Courage to begin when you feel behind. The world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs more real people. People who are willing to show their scars, own their story, and keep showing up with love and fire no matter how many times life knocks them down. Courage is messy. It's inconvenient. It doesn't always come with applause or approval. But it always leads to growth. It always opens doors. It always stretches you into the person you were born to become. The comfortable life may keep you safe, but it won't keep you fulfilled. Courage might shake your world, but it will awaken your soul. It will turn your pain into power, your confusion into clarity, your setbacks into setups. It will burn away the false layers and leave behind the real you, the version you've always been deep down, but were too afraid to become. We don't remember people for playing it safe. We remember them for doing what scared them, for standing when it was unpopular, for rising when everyone else stayed silent. That kind of courage doesn't require perfection. It just requires presence, a willingness to show up, to try again, to keep going, even when the path is unclear, even when the outcome isn't guaranteed, even when you're the only one who sees what you see. The world doesn't need more people hiding behind filters, titles, or masks. It needs people who burn with purpose, who speak from the gut, who lead from the front and love with their whole hearts. That kind of courage is contagious. It changes rooms, it changes lives, it changes legacies, and once it's awakened inside you, it refuses to go quiet again. This is your moment. Stand up inside yourself and rise. Not tomorrow, not someday, not when you feel more confident or the timing feels perfect. Right now, in the middle of the chaos, in the presence of fear, in the shadow of doubt, there comes a time in every life where waiting becomes a form of self-betrayal, where silence becomes too heavy to carry, and where standing still feels more dangerous than moving forward. That time is now, the moment you stop outsourcing your power and start owning your presence. Not the version of you that's filtered for approval, but the one that's raw, real, and ready for more. The one that has been knocked down, overlooked, underestimated, but still breathing, still burning, still called. This is your moment to stop shrinking for spaces you've outgrown, to stop playing roles you were never meant to play, to stop living in reaction to other people's expectations. Standing up inside yourself isn't about proving anything to anyone else. It's about remembering who you are before the world told you who to be. It's about honoring your fire, even if it makes others uncomfortable. It's about showing up fully, not halfway, not behind a mask, not apologizing for your light. You've spent enough time negotiating with your doubts, entertaining your fears, and making excuses for your delay. You don't need more time, you need more truth. The truth that what's inside you is greater than what's against you. That your story, with all its pain and pressure, has been shaping you for this exact moment. That the obstacles you thought would break you were actually the training ground for your rise. You don't need a perfect past to have a powerful future. You don't need anyone's permission to walk in purpose. You don't need to have it all figured out to start moving. All you need is the decision, the inner resolve to rise, to show up, to lead yourself out of the wilderness you've been wandering in for too long. There's a different kind of power that emerges when you stop waiting to be chosen and decide to choose yourself. When you stop looking for signs and become the sign. When you stop begging for doors to open and start building your own. You are not here to be a background character in your own story. You are here to take the pen and rewrite the narrative, to turn the trauma into triumph, the silence into sound, the pain into purpose. Every moment you've survived has been proof of your strength. Now it's time to let that strength speak. Standing up inside yourself doesn't mean you won't feel fear, it means you won't bow to it. It means you'll carry it with you, but you won't let it lead. It means you'll walk forward with shaky legs and a steady soul. It means you'll stop asking the world who you are and start declaring it. This moment has been waiting for you to say yes. Not just a yes of words, but a yes of action. A yes that is louder than excuses, stronger than insecurity, deeper than doubt. The rise begins the moment you decide that staying where you are is no longer an option, that the comfort zone has turned into a prison, that the old story can't take you to the new chapter. Your rise will be messy, imperfect, and misunderstood, but it will be yours, and it will change everything, not just for you, but for everyone who's been waiting for someone like you to show them what's possible. You are not too late, you are not too small, you are not too broken. This is your moment. Stand up inside yourself and rise.